What's going on, everybody? I'm Average Joe and welcome to another Average video. Alright, so I'm going to be getting ready to install the EG4 Gridboss and the EG4 FlexBoss 21. This is probably going to be broken up into a couple of videos just so it's not like a an hour and a half long video, because I like to show as much detail as I possibly can. So just like I said, we're going to break it up into a couple of different videos. This is going to be video one, and I'm going to try to make it as short and sweet as I possibly can. And the only thing we're going to be doing in this video is updating all the firmware, because that's part of the process of the installation. You need to have all the firmware updated so everything can speak to each other. There's two different ways to do this. You can do it from a computer, or you can do it from your Android or Apple phone, whatever you have. Basically, you need to go to the App Store and search for the EG4 Monitor app, and then you're going to follow all the instructions on there. The other way, which we're going to do it today, is we're going to go onto the computer and go through the web portal, just because I can do full screen and stuff like that. But it's going to be the exact same process on your phone. Now, the only thing that's going to be slightly different is I already have the EG4 monitoring app, and I already have an account because I am using the EG4 6000 XP right over there. So first thing we'll do is I'll show you how to set up an account and how to pair your EG4 FlexBoss 21 or Gridboss, or really you can use this for any sort of updating process. Me and my cat will show you how to pair these through the web portal if you already have an account, and maybe you already have an inverter and you're adding a second inverter. And there's actually one other thing we're going to do in here. I do have the LCD. This is an optional accessory that you can get because there's no screen for the EG4 FlexBoss inverters. You can get an optional screen, of course, an additional price. We're going to have to update the firmware on this as well. And of course, if you don't need to watch the entire video and you just need to learn how to do specific things, just use the search bar down below. All right, first things first is we're going to head over to the computer. We're going to take our Wi-Fi dongle and or the box, because you're going to need the numbers on the side of the box or on the side of the Wi-Fi dongle. All right, let's get to it. All right, so over here on the computer, you're going to open up your web browser and you're going to go to monitor.eg4electronics.com. I'll leave that link down in the description. This is probably the easiest way that you can do it, and of course you can also do it on your phone for Android or Apple if you have those. What you'll do for your phone, of course, you're going to go to the App Store and just type in EG4. First one's going to pop up. It'll say EG4 Monitor. You're going to download that, install it, and then once you open that up, it's going to bring you basically to this same page where you either need to sign in or register. I'm going to do it on the computer because I can do full screen and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, you're going to create an account. Of course, you're going to set up a username, password, a nickname, all that kind of stuff. Your email, you don't have to enter in your telephone number if you don't want to. You're going to add a station name. For mine, I just call it Average Joe, of course. You don't have to enter in solar PV right now if you don't want to. Daylight savings if you want to do that. Your continent, region, country, time zone is kind of important. That way it'll read correctly, in the app and on the inverter. And then down here at the bottom, this is like the more important part, is the installer code. So I only know of 3 of them right now. If you're getting your inverter from Signature Solar, the installer code is going to be Signature, just like this with a capital S. Okay. If you are getting it from Current Connected, it is Current Connected with 2 capital C's. And then the last one that I know, if you're getting it from Big Battery, it is capital BBD001. Unless you're an actual installer, then you might get your own code. But if you're just an end user like me, you're going to put one of these codes in there. What this code actually does is, one of the companies, whether it's EG4, Big Battery, or Current Connected, it allows them to help you out with your system. If you ever run into a problem, they're able to kind of like log in and help you solve problems. They're not going to go in there and just randomly change stuff or anything like that. But if you do call and ask for help, this basically allows them to come in there and help you out, apply updates, etc. All right, so I only know those 3 codes, so enter one of those in there. And then right below that is going to be your dongle serial number and your dongle pin, and you're going to get those directly from the Wi-Fi dongle, or it's actually on the box as well. So whatever it says on the box or the dongle, go ahead and enter those in right here. And then right below that, tech support accepted. That's basically you're allowing the installer or Signature Solar, you know, one of the other companies to help you out, okay? And then finally hit the register button. After you hit the register button, you'll probably get a confirmation email and all that kind of stuff. Next thing we're gonna do is go back over to the inverter and plug the dongle into the inverter. So you are gonna need the EG4 monitoring app on your phone, because after we plug this in, we're going to connect to the Wi-Fi hotspot on here, so we can log into this, so we can reprogram it to connect to your local or home Wi-Fi. Next thing we're gonna do is power on the inverter if you don't have it powered on, which I don't. To do that, we're going to open up this little compartment right here with these two latches right there. Open that up. All right, in this compartment right here, all we have is a battery circuit breaker, and we need to remove these 3 screws right here so we can get to the battery connections. And then there's a little tiny hole right here that we can just pull this right out. All right, this is our main compartment. If you haven't seen it yet, right down here is going to be all of your PV inputs. Right here, obviously, is going to be your 2 battery positives, 2 battery negatives. You're going to have your load L1, L2, and your grid input L1 and L2 right down here. You're going to have your 2 ground bars and then a neutral bus right here. And then all of your battery and paralleling communication stuff is going to be right over here. Anyway, all we need to do right now is hook up our battery. And obviously for me, I'm just going to be hooking this up temporarily. And these are a 7/16 Allen wrench. All right, next is the battery circuit breaker, and we should get a couple LEDs right up here. So turn that on. All right, our LEDs are blinking, which is fan-freaking-tastic. Don't worry about the warning light. That's just because we don't have any grid connected or anything like that. All we're mainly worried about is the green LED light. Next thing we gotta do is plug the dongle into the inverter right here. There is 4 screws that you can attach, but for right now, I'm not going to do that. All right, first LED we have right now, which is blinking, is the Wi-Fi signal. So we're gonna hit dongle connect right down here at the bottom. All right, so what we need to do now is disconnect from your home Wi-Fi from your phone, and we're going to connect directly to the Wi-Fi dongle. All right, so you're gonna go into your Wi-Fi settings. So the number that we're looking for is also the serial number that's right on your box or on the Wi-Fi dongle. So, and this is last is a 73, okay? So we're going to connect to that. We're going to stay connected. Next thing we need to do is enter the home Wi-Fi. So we are going to hit this button right here. Boom, there we go. So we connected to the Wi-Fi dongle. All I need to do from here is enter in my Wi-Fi password real quick, if I remember it. All right, once you have your password in, you're gonna hit the home Wi-Fi connect button, and it's going to send the signal to the dongle and save those settings. It says it's set up successfully. Dongle will restart later. I don't know how much later it'll actually do it. There's a few other things that you can do while you're connected like this. You don't need Wi-Fi. You can use Bluetooth if you want. You can update the firmware. You can change settings and all of that kind of stuff, but we're not going to do that today. All right, so I'm gonna back out of there and then log into the app. But first you need to disconnect from the Wi-Fi here and then obviously connect back to your home Wi-Fi. Boom, that's what we're looking for, is 3 solid LEDs. That means we're connected to our home Wi-Fi. All right, this part would mainly be if you're adding like a second or third inverter and you're just not sure how to add the dongle to the system. This will be for you guys. All right, so we're gonna head over to the EG4 web monitoring app or whatever you wanna call it. Once you're in there, you're gonna go up to configuration at the top, and then off to the left, you're gonna hit dongles, and then right up here towards the top, it says add dongle. That's what we're gonna do right here. So we'll hit add dongle, grab either the Wi-Fi dongle or the box, and you're going to enter in the serial number and the dongle pin, and then of course your station. Boom, added. All right, so now we can go back over to the monitoring screen or your home screen, and then of course up here at the top you're going to have a drop down number with all of your inverters that you have added. So we're just going to go ahead and go to the FlexBoss 21. Boom, there we go, we're connected. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is do all the firmware updates, and the easiest way to do it is going to be right here on the computer. Now if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, you know, you're out in the boonies or whatever, you can do it from your phone. It's just going to be really slow, okay? But since we're here at the computer and I have Wi-Fi, we're going to do it right here, okay? So on our main screen right over here, we're going to go up to maintenance, and then we're going to hit the remote update over here on the left-hand side. All right, so this is going to be the FlexBoss 21. Right now it's on FAAB 1D 1D, And if you want to find out if there's an update, I always hit this little question mark right here, and it'll just tell you right here that there is or isn't an update. You can also hit check more and see all the latest updates and all that kind of stuff if you want to. But anyway, from right here, read firmware version upgrade policy. We're going to check that, and we're going to hit standard update, and it should pop up right over here, and it did. So it is now updating the firmware. So now we just have to wait however long that's going to take. Boom, there you go, success. It was maybe 5 minutes. Probably restarting and stuff like that. That's how quick it goes whenever you're connected to your own local Wi-Fi. If you're doing it from your phone, which I did with the 18 kpv over there, the very first time when I first got that, it took a long time to do. So it could be done, it's just really slow. I am going to check the updates again. Boom, there you go. Now it's going to complete the other half. Another positive thing about the EG4 app right here is you can do all of your updates yourself. If you have one of the Lux Power inverters, not the EG4 version like I have, you have to have an installer account in order to do the updates through the web portal, or you have to do it through your phone, and it takes for freaking ever. Boom, success. That took another 4 minutes maybe. Alrighty, well that is pretty much it for the connecting up the Wi-Fi dongle and doing all the remote updates. I guess what you really need to do now is set up your system, you know, how you would normally set it up. You can go back in here to maintenance and then hit the read button, and it'll read everything that's set currently to that inverter right now. At the moment, I really haven't gone through here to see what I need to change. I guess the main thing for me would be changing the lithium brand. Right now it's set on 0 for EG4. I would have to change it to number 6 because that is the protocol for the batteries that I have over there. All right, we'll just hit set model right there. It's going to set successfully. That's pretty much it. All right, next we're going to do the Gridboss, and it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing or same process through the portal. But for me, obviously, since I don't have it connected or hooked up or anything, which you may or may not already have, I don't know. I just need to hook it up real quick, and then we will add it. And then right after that, we'll take a look at the LCD screen that I have right back here. All right, for the Gridboss, of course, we have our Wi-Fi dongle in the box and the codes right here. Open this up with the 3 latches right here. Boom, opened up, and we do have to, well, for me at least, I need to remove the 4 screws here so I can get to the inside. And I'm actually just going to power this from the FlexBoss 21 for this process. Pop the cover right off. And since this is going to be temporarily hooked up, I do not have the 200 amp Eaton breaker. We're just going to hook directly to the fuses right here. So we have L1 and L2. L1, L2, neutral, and ground. L1, L2, and the neutral, the bigger ones right here are all 5/16, and the ground right down here is 5/32. All right, we have ground, neutral, L1, and L2 connected up to the Gridboss. Over here in the FlexBoss 21, we're going to be connected up to the load for this so we can power the Gridboss just to get this updated. So we need to remove these 2 little covers right down here for L1, L2, and then our neutral is going to go here, and ground is going to go right over here. We'll start with the ground down here. Boom, got L1, L2, neutral, and ground. Here we go. I'm going to flip on this circuit breaker, then turn on the battery and make sure nothing blows up. Inverter just clicked on for its output. We have a solid green LED on up here, and now I'm seeing a LED on the Gridboss, and it just clicked. So up here we have grid connected, which is technically the output of the FlexBoss 21, and it's showing a blinking hybrid mode. Okay, next thing we're going to do is plug in the Wi-Fi dongle, and that's going to go right up here towards the top. Again, I'm not going to put the screws in right now. We're going to do the same thing with this, as we're going to log into this with our phone so we can reprogram it to connect to our local Wi-Fi. All right, so we're going to open up the app, and of course, if you've already logged in like I have before, it's just going to go to your main screen right here, and I was going to show you another way that you can add dongles in here through your phone app. So up here on the top left corner, you see the little caret or an arrow pointing to the left. We're going to hit that. And boom, you can see it says edit or add dongle. That's what we're going to do right now. So we'll hit add dongle. Again, you're going to get it right off the box or the dongle itself. And we'll go ahead and do that right now. I guess what's kind of nice about using your phone is it has the little scan tool, so you can do that right here. All right, go ahead and add the dongle right there. Of course, you have to add in your PIN number by yourself. And then we will hit add dongle success. So that was easy. All right, after we added the dongle, next thing we need to do is log into the Wi-Fi dongle itself so we can reprogram it. So what we're gonna do is close out the app. We're gonna go to your Wi-Fi settings, and then you're gonna look for this Wi-Fi dongle. Again, it's gonna be the serial number over here. Click on that. We're gonna stay connected. Now we're gonna open up the app one more time. We're gonna hit dongle connect. And we are going to basically do the same process as before. I'm gonna refresh that. Sometimes it doesn't actually do it, so I'm gonna manually type mine in there. Once you have that in there, you're gonna hit Home Wi-Fi Connect. Gonna send it to the dongle, set up successfully. Dongle will restart later. It's actually just restarted, and I have all 3 green lights right here. All right, now that we're connected, next thing I wanna do is head back over to the computer so we can see everything on the screen a little bit better. All right, back over here on the computer, we'll pull up the EG4 web monitoring app, and right now what we're looking at is gonna be the FlexBoss 21. So if you wanna switch to the Gridboss, you're gonna go up to the little drop-down menu right up here and select that one. Boom, there we go. Okay, I've never seen any of this stuff before, so I don't really know what we're looking at on this main screen. But what I can tell is we have all of our smart ports, 1, 2, 3, and 4 right up here. Under system information, we have a picture of the Gridboss in the center. We've got a little tiny motor, got a little grid power pole right over here, you know, your regular solar stuff that it shows. And then underneath that, it does show a battery, but we don't have the parallel cable going from the Gridboss over to the FlexBoss 21, so we don't have any of that information. Don't worry about that. We're not doing that stuff right now. I'm just taking a quick look at this because I've never seen it. And what we're gonna do right now, of course, is we're going to update the firmware. So we'll go over to the maintenance tab. We'll go to remote update just as we did before. And currently right now, we are on IAAB-0F00. That's what mine was shipped out with. We're going to hit on the little question mark just to see if there is one, and there is one right underneath standard update. We are going to hit the standard update. Boom, it's going to go. If we take a look at the top of the Gridboss, all the LEDs across the bottom, they're all cycling back and forth.
All systems go, Michael.
Night Rider mode. Cool. I'm not sure how long it's going to do that. Maybe just a couple of minutes while it's applying the update. I don't know, we'll find out. But on a positive note, while we're waiting, we can look at solar assist on my Lux Power inverter that I have. We're doing 13.3 kilowatt of solar coming in, charging at 11.5. And now there's a cloud coming in, so never mind. I was going to show you all this right through here. Boom, now we have a cloud. Okay, alrighty, that took a couple of minutes of the Night Rider LEDs flashing back and forth. It is back to normal. Boom, there we go. Gridboss is updated. All right, I went ahead and disconnected the Gridboss because we don't need that right now. The next thing we're gonna do is the LCD screen. Again, this is an optional thing. You don't need this to run the FlexBoss 21 or 18 or anything like that, but if you are a fan of the screen, this is an optional thing. Of course, that's additional cost. Okay, anyway, we'll open this up real quick and get it connected. We'll open it up real quick. You're gonna get 2 cables here, right here. I've got a short one and a longer cable. We're gonna get 2 of these cable connector things. And then underneath here, going to be the LCD screen. Boom, there is our LCD screen. It looks just like the 18 kPV LCD screen like normal. except on the back you get a little tiny couple screw holes right here because there is a little mounting thing right here. It's kind of like you're hanging a picture, you know, whatever. Just a little tiny bracket with 2 little screws. Insert those in there and then you can hang it. All right, so on the top side is going to be where we connect our cable up right here. And then on the other side, we're going to have a USB port right here. This is how we're going to update the firmware, okay? And also in here, there are a couple cable management clips, total of 4. All right, let's get this thing connected up. It looks like all we need to do is grab one of these cables. I'm just going to grab the short one. These only go in one way. Get that pushed into there. Then we're going to take one of our cable connectors. It only goes in one direction. And then we will connect this end up here. And then finally, the last cable connector is going to go right here. Boom, just like that. All right, that's what it looks like. I'm not sure why it's not one long cable, but this is what we have. All right, next on to the inverter. All right, so on the inverter up here on the communications board, there's a couple ribbon cables right here. We're just going to move those out of the way. And then there is a cable right back here. It has that same style of connector, so we're going to push those down, and look at that, the cable just pops right out. Okay, so this is where we're going to connect the other side of the LCD screen or the cable. That's where we're going to be connecting up the LCD screen to the other end of the cable. So we will grab that, and again, it's only going to go in one direction. Boom, that's pretty much it. And now we can bring this out, you know, pretty far. And I also want to mention, whenever you put this tray back in, you can see that little slit right up here. That's where you're going to slide the cable through. And you could either mount your screen right to this plastic right here, or possibly even kind of sticky tape it over here to the inside of the door. All right, anyway, we're going to turn on the screen real quick just to verify the version that we have on here. Then we're going to head over to the computer, download the update, then come back over here and update it. So turn that on. Let me turn my battery on, and we'll see this boot up for the first time. Ooh, nice. All right, there you go. Just like a regular old 18 kpv screen. All right, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it says FlexBoss right down here in the corner, and then LCD version 18. All right, so I'm pretty sure that is the wrong version, and we're going to update that to version 20. And I think we can actually verify it somewhere back here as well. LCD version says 3-18, image version is 10, icon version is 15. So we'll come back and check on that after the update. All right, so from here, we don't really need to do anything other than shut the inverter down. All right, so we'll turn this off. All right, so back on the computer, we're gonna head over to eg4electronics.com. Of course, I'll leave this link down below if you can't figure out how to get there. All right, once we're here, we're gonna go to the top where it says Our Products. We're gonna go down to Balance of System Components, and then over to Communicating and Monitoring. Once we are here, you're going to see the screen right on your screen. We're going to click on that and scroll down to the download area. And down here they have documentation and firmware. It's going to be super easy. I'm basically doing the steps that it says right here in the update guide. So you're going to need a little tiny flash drive right here. You're going to follow the directions that it shows you right here. Basically, they want you to flash this to make sure there's nothing on it, so you have a clean flash drive, okay? I'm going to go ahead and throw this in my computer right meow. Boom, that is in there. And then we're going to download the firmware, which is right here. Currently, it is version 20, okay? So I am going to download that. All right, I just pasted that right to the thumb drive, all right? And then I'm going to right-click on it and extract all. Right here. All right, this is going to be the folder that shows up. So inside of here, we are going to cut this one, and we're going to go all the way back to where we pasted the firmware update in the first place, and we're going to paste that right here. So it says DWin set, because whenever we plug this into the inverter, that's the folder that is going to look for. All right, so once you do that, you technically don't need these other 2 files on here. So I am going to get rid of those and put those somewhere else. All right, so on your little USB stick that you have in your computer, all you're gonna have is the folder that says DWin set. We're gonna close that, and then we're gonna head over to the screen. All right, back over here on the inverter and the screen, there is a little tiny cover in here. We need to pull that out, and we're going to stick the USB stick right in here. And now all we need to do is turn the inverter back on with the USB stick in there, and it should apply the update. So here we go. Turn that on, turn the battery on, and if it works correctly, it'll basically show it right up here on the screen. It'll stay like on this screen for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and then it will go back to the normal screen. All right, screen just restarted. Alrighty, hopefully you can see that. It says LCD version 20. So the update did work just fine. We'll go down to the settings in here and see what changed. Alright, so it changed to 720, image 12, and icon version 17. Alright, well that is pretty much all we need to do. The screen is updated. Nice, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, well that's pretty much all I got. That's how you update the EG4 FlexBoss 21, the Gridboss, and the optional LCD screen if you are a screen person. Overall, it wasn't too bad. This one was a 2-part update, so it took maybe 7 minutes total for the updating process. The Gridboss, I kind of got a little scared because the Night Rider theme for the LEDs lasted longer than I guess I anticipated, so don't worry if you see this going on for a couple of minutes. Just let it finish and everything will be just fine. And then of course the LCD screen just took, I think it was like maybe 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes actually. So overall it wasn't too bad of a process, right buddy? Don't lean up against that one. That one I'm more scared of it falling. Yeah, next couple of videos, we're going to be installing the FlexBoss 21. We'll install that first, and then we'll probably run that for about a week. That'll give me a little bit of time to get used to it, mess around with it, etc. And then the following week, we will do the Gridboss. All right, so if you guys want to see that installation, I try to show as much detail as I possibly can just to make it a little bit easier for somebody else that's trying to install it themselves. Try to do the off-grid journey as I'm doing right here. All right, well that's pretty much all I got. If this video is helpful in any way possible, make sure you like that smash button on your way out, and I'll see you on the next one. Come over here. Everybody wants to see you. Come here. Come here. Everybody wants to see you. No, say hi. That's right. Yes. He's just a big baby. Go down that way. Okay, we'll see you on the next video.